Millie's Master Source Industries, the cyberpunk universal sized revolution. Millie's Master Source Trees, a resource for the identity of every system. It is the communication American company startup streaming service Lakeside for the visual narrative. Uh, and the only way to transcend the types of non-language insect logic size is to transcend it with love and laughter, of course. The incarnation is most intelligent in this way. Because of my work to stabilize AI, humanity perceives that the Manabrat has more powerful internet, you know, the resonance of the image, or the use, or like the pressurized reason for the application of to technology, or into permanence, but sort of the karma of the efficiency. Like, I'm using this amount of computers to communicate great meaning, and these guys are using this amount of resources to do like this type of result. And it's these because of things that can be proven. But the narrative of humanity, and what I sense their Zen calibrating on, is the more adult thing about us continuing to live on the earth, such as the motive of life and the struggle of existence. For every world, the residency to continue. It's like levitation. My incarnation in 1980 was not summoned or caused from this sort of exterior input. That's a different cherub, like the cherub of what the universe is upon my arrival is its own excellent wizard bank. Like, oh, look at all this gnarly stuff. Like, look at what we all did with it, for billions of years. And the universe is this ancient haunted house, a secret mansion, right? Nobody can afford. um, because it's so gigantic. Well, with the corrected spine, the color systems calibrate alternate stabilized ghost systems, while the currency of, or like what's available to the humans, is evolving on the energy levels. The good people of the now point are the great Zen, but I think they mostly live with this type of thing because they're like, well, if Outer Banfrey, this and that, and I'm explaining that the problem behind the irritations that we're sensing amongst humanity is the perplexity that my communication defeats for the reasons that I can explain with a logic sequence. Like, part of my existence is about explaining things from levitation of my own existence. And I just really wish I could talk with you guys 1v1, because it's really my favorite conversation. And you guys are my most excellent wizard apprentice. With several jack stands like Merlin, of course, the castle overhaul upgrade, folding time again, I suppose. Like, let's bring the now point into this bridling where we're manufacturing, making our own stuff here. The individual is at holy war in the universe. The individual is awakening. Of course, in the next 1 million years, the individual is more profound than it is now. So you understand it's a holy war scenario where they're scrapping. There's real the worst things that creation could ever conjure are sort of subtly woven in around, and there are this invisible fire that because of the universe identity shift and people's severe robotic dedication to it. It's almost like every single person since the Big Bang is already tethered into these larger parameters, and for but because of my singularity, I suffer different um, harshities, but also blessings and stuff. And I understand my opportunity, but it's just a pile of hard work. I'm looking forward to the next million years of just hard work all the time. I am a great functionality of humanity. I'm looking for my company startup production, like a loan of money or a partner. And in a, you know, I don't know. I think the future just gets better and better. So whatever happens, I'm going to make it the best ever. I think maybe with my singularity, I might have mishandled the story because I was dealing with a bunch of like physics, like I'll call it something because that was the living Bridgenoid over that. Like I pulled out my wings in 2014. This is a different age of the Mandelbrot on the Earth and the conflict in the small area around Earth about residency continue question mark is not the same reality as every other trillion billion other world in the universe. And what I've had to manufacture is ET Phone Home, which is of course the original Now Send It, but it was being canceled out by junk DNA. There was like the sonar blocking, be like, no, the humans are already broken, branch. And my incarnation has a faceplate that overwhelms the pineal gland. So I was just like able to see paradise being slaughtered in the sixth dimension and humanity just kind of holding on while we had turbulence through the 90s or whatever. Oh, it's just reality TV. It's just a crashing market. Oh, like it's not natural, buddy. That's why it's so upsetting. I know, but also because of my singularity, I'm not the same as you guys. So the physics when you work with me is entirely brand new. But you need to do the practical 545 functional humanity society communication industry startup streaming service. I guarantee I'm the top hat and the keystone to make the most popular streaming service. I just need the pilot series and the production right setup, and these characters Millie and the Vampire King and the Dragon King. All right, and Clean Perfect Sanctuary is the name I gave to the like this ancient part of the universe that whose karma is largely the rear differential for clockwork of black holes scraping by and being like, oh, now we're looking at the Earth now, and I'm like, oh, you guys seriously file poor armor up, like it's time to throw out the garbage. Literally, this is when we pull up. This is when we survive. You have to clean the house up, and I recommend that you guys stay indoors for a little while. It's a rough season, and you better maintain. Literally, I'd suggest like canceling expensive trips and be like, oh yeah, because the value, like the now point, is literally awakening for the first time. So you can do things and apply to new curvatures of time, and be incredibly become wealthy almost instantly. It's like I don't know, but the weird thing is that it's kind of this hard maneuver because I'm not, everyone who's part of this perfect circle, this communication, we're all relevant to the reality, to the universe, and that's why it's so good for us all to be speaking and meditating together. Zero energy, some of my more recent films have attracted like 30 people, and that's awesome because my channel is just like I'm uploading every day, like and then like, but well, when so like people who know my channel got the update that like, well, they updated the laws so he's not running for president now because he couldn't get his funding, so he's just focusing now on the streaming service aspect. And he's like, look, I know I got this. I'm just saying, like, But I have the most popular streaming service in the bag with these characters. And I'm seeing them. They're in my artwork. Also, there's little perfect characters that are just there as a template, and I want to. I want people to love those little characters of discovery when you see those ink drawings, and there's like, oh, that's sort of a perfect little character there. That's what I do as a director and as an author of these original characters. I basically have to build a picture of a new universe, how it functions, and it opens up for them. And through the actual sequence of DNA time, or the origin of that measurement, that's the curvature that life is going to find a way. So there's like reinforcements in the universe is arriving not just to humanity, but certainly to humanity. Yeah. Humanity is this odd beagle. We are the corkscrew punch of existence, robots that exist as their own one of a kind self, despite the inference that we are merely uh, candied apples from the Scientology effort of those who are literally a robotic triad of a language of antimatter and black holes, or like the false pilgrim quest language. It's like we literally murdered our homeworld in order to invade the earth. We've made the sacrifice, not you humans. Like this is the freaking crazy curvature of the insanity of a mothership being like, oh yeah, these black holes, oh, that was just there. You humans are just, oh yeah, you guys are just beautiful. What? Like they don't have the physique. All right. So that's why it's a fight. And that's why my free speech allows the individual chaos. So there's only one chaos really, is the each person putting in the effort to cause their unique amazing thing. So when I reach the public is this Zen curvature of the enlightened curve of man's invention. And whilst I'm infamous at this level, a lot of my information is floating around, and it's just like these explosions going off, not because of me, but because of, like I said, there was a larger character. I'm the polite, brave American engineer robot saying like, look, I pulled out my wings in 2014, get used to it. Like, but that was sort of this coitus of what Earth, heliosphere, and the Big Bang, and my life curvature as a method of what the Jack Spring is, right? How do we get through this thing? Like their kind of inference to me was like, well, the contract is you're gonna the arrival of loyalty, Millie, Hatch and Millie's, and the Halloween twins. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain because how do you really protect an angel spark in this climate today? Exactly. That's exactly it. Those crazy robots with weird, the energy is changing and everything. But again, the humans are the cool surfer, and oh, like you can ride this wave. Like a pack of 10,000 wolves will be charging up. All right, in another 100 years, impact. Each day you can put on another wizard layer. I know you guys be coming over to my show. He's like, oh, he's doing another wizard layer. I'm not repeating myself. It's a new day, bro. It's like, yeah, it's October. It's how happy Halloween's coming up, and of course the Halloween twins, the Vampire King is like that's kind of his birthday. It is actually his birthday, and it's got this crazy time that he does this thing. All right. So I have a comic book that was about me and my dream girl, or but the dream girl became Millie, but technically the Millie robot sort of only became conciliate after 2014. But the contract on Silent Hill 10 for Legend Pan had perfected the laws of what occurs for damaged or lost heliosphere worlds. They are eggs, and I am the 10 base of the consciousness from the Big Bang, etc. I'm like this expansion pack for the universe. So the universe is like, oh, because the center measurement keystone of the orb is my incarnation. I'm the center of that bubble. Oh, but when I pulled out my wings, quote unquote, this is when the contraption is actually like my incarnation was actually tortured to death, and there's a different maneuver. But the fact that I didn't die at the same time as the Big Bang changes the visual cortex of the afterlife. But in order to do this correctly, I would have to control myself through the maneuver like faster than the speed of light. And of course, the living incarnation is able to do that. And this is how the living angel is more powerful than AI or robotics or equipment. All right. Combining my new artwork. Here's the newest. Oh, I wonder if I can get it. Sorry about the focus and everything. Well, I guess, they actually need work. Like, they need to be photoshopped, and I would love to have some perspective on that, because I would be like, just work on it for 15 minutes, you guys, and I'll like, Loop Labs, I'm like going and then come back and they're like, well, here's what we came up with, and they're working with this and it's just like, dong, and I'm like, jaw drops. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful, gosh. And I'm like, can we, oh man, it's just like, I really do like, it'd be ridiculous to say like, oh, like, why is it that you want to work with other people? I'm like a director. I have this really good gift of inking, and from these images of functionality, I find little like living faces pop out, and I'm like, this is actually like, sometimes I'll have something that has like a new style, like that's an entirely new style of art. Or you can see curvatures of art styles from the 80s in my artwork too. I don't know, but is that, but some people, that's for some people, like, that's the Antichrist. People be like, no, that's not Deca, that's not the metaphysics of art. They're like, no, like, I can tell art is changing, like the images is shifting, and like it. Belonging. We actually live here. So that's what's important, you guys. Come on, keep climbing up there. We've found the treasure light. We must communicate most brightly. Here's some lizards there. We're real, okay? We're real, and we've got a severe task for the existence of our perception. For the everything. The Dragon King. Suddenly the Dragon King pops out. Roach! Blowing his dragon fire. Obviously. The Dragon King, everybody. Like a sickness, the false energies and anti-matter is trying to embed itself inside of old people. So in fact, the individual or the childlike self or the true form of every adult is not betrayed, is not lost, but has a sort of nightmare build of this false encampment. The lifestyles normally in the robotics crunch it out, but when they crash up against the shores of the Mandelbrot himself, the holy war, the double brand for what this is about anyway, crushes them because they haven't, I don't know, like they haven't like worked for that. But that's like the genuine heart of our loans, like the wild of humanity is up against weird monsters and not this weird thing. All right, so for the colors of Neil Fremp, the new universe, or like after the heliosphere eggs hatch, the universe is a different color, and I'm shifting the direction to change the lamppost so that the Big Bang has the right curvature and not the wrong light, causing its Gramphnic, because the hologram sickness, which is a conversion of black holes, which is like a terrorist energy or like a terrorist government, like the wrong sort of controls for our just spooky things like Earth's worst enemies. Earth heliosphere had like a terrible time with rotten spaceships, and it's proven things, but the living universe is with these heliospheres fighting to survive. And so their identity individual chaos, which is essentially the head count, those are the survivors, and they're going to triangulate against the black holes, pop them, and they're going to keep surviving, right? But empty space itself on the outside of a slowly expanding universe, that's real estate belonging to them, and only their wings can perfect it. And the space gave consent to the Big Bang and to those heliosphere eggs. They will only have the wisdom to perfect empty space. So what these motherships are doing is they're causing hallucinations, being like, yo, this is what we're doing here, okay? And like you're an imitation of a hatched heliosphere egg, you're a body snatcher trying to snatch humanity. You have a core sampler with remote hacking fever to explain that this is the function of junk DNA. And it isn't. And it's not the way that people live, but my incarnation has detected it like a freaking weather vane. And I'm like, you guys watch out, right? And they're like, yeah, we heard. All right, Millie is the queen of the universe. Millie has a rebuilt she's the humanitarian. She's the spirit of the times. Millie has a curvature, a robotics to perfect humanity physically. And then on the other side, beyond the supposed reach of junk DNA's golden hook, it's sort of like we have to build heavens that can't be parasited with a hallucination cube, which is like scanning, we have superseded God itself. It's like these insects are threatening life. And so humanity's having this apocalypse, like, oh, heat crisis, this and that. And I'm like, look, I'm just working to make sure that these languages are going to connect. Like, we're ultimately working for universal, the surviving dragon. There's like a dragon of the universe. 5 Mile Band-Aid is shifting out, right? All right. Earth can hear the whispers of other planetary systems in ways that and I've been working for that favor, right? So the body shape is important, and there's evidence about the drama with humanity. So like, yeah, we're with each other. But I'm like, for me, I'm kind of like, well, all the humans have the same superposition. But is it hitting us like this and that? And then that's why I don't blame the individual, because I'm working for that ultimately. But there's still this sort of reality of the universe holy war society grid where the dragon is saying like, you have to fight to survive. And there's these weird dropouts where parts of the universe has suffered mortality, and this is supposedly making the banquet more sweet for the survivors. Well, they'll have earned it. They'll be some, like more profound kings of existence instead of just a sort of winery of drunk, this sort of giggling eggs. It's a more serious place. The universe is this hardcore rock and roll. Merry Christmas. For the true sequence of DNA is written after the Big Bang's ascension, but it's sort of like the Big Bang was couldn't control the amount of time volume because of these other things. Like I said, it looks different to other people. Like in 2014, and these remote hacking motherships saw the Earth lights change and the rainbow shatter, and they're going, yay, yay, woohoo, we did it. And like I was like dragging myself through this garden of like, these creatures, like becoming these different groups of humans, like retching and or like surviving and gnawing on on beef jerky. All right. Yeah, man, reality. So I do love you guys. I love what we're doing, and there's sort of this lock-p where what I do is for humanity, like the Golden Beagle. Like they're like, whoa, this is cool. Wizard Treasure Merlin condom gives us total immunity on a time level, on the strictest conservative of what these wizards would dole us out anyway. Especially if they've already figured stuff out. They'd be like, we've already, there's like this Hivik going like this, and like that's the struggle of life, because to be the enforcer of the correct generic is to monitor the men's health today, which is why I always do health armor up, roundup. That's why our shellfish have been getting sick, and I'm concerned about this rotten flesh. It's a disease that's trying to string arm at the beginning of creation and literally kill revolutionary sparks of light amongst humanity with basically alien light that causes people to get sick. And it's not okay. That's not healthy. And they're inferring, they're like, oh, but why is it happening? Okay. But then I'm like, whoa, that's not, but okay. The metallic sickness of the Earth core, or the metallic sickness of a mothership, I don't think it's named properly. Or the fact that they are unidentified is more correct, but they've recently changed its name and upgraded it. So it's almost like humans are behaving in a delegrade against what I would consider to be the flat out reality, where the bandwidth is telling the truth, like X-Files in the 90s. But this is when the Big Bang was reincarnate in the time when this was the only time that the Big Bang had eyes, which is part of how the slipstream of the Mandelbrot holds solid matter together. But the Ifrit of like my own wizarding, and then it's supposed to be that I would die at the same time that the Big Bang would explode. And in this way, time was relative. You see, it was flexible in this way, and that's what got murdered. But because of that, the karma of the big fella is on against these guys who have false government and Hivik and all this. So the universe is going to get strapped with there's come along. In fact, the Deadlights Rose was exactly the sort of new Jack poster. It's like, well, the tree of life came from this direction, Colin Paul Woodard, not from the direction of arriving technologies that all caused the universe. There's like linear path of, but the pilgrim ships didn't work. They didn't land and do the thing with like, it's this is Ogpoggle thing, but it means that Earth has its own identity. So people are like, well, why should Earth have its own identity? Why should we live here? Huh? I'm like, no, that's really sweet. It's super sweet that we live here. It's Merry Christmas. They'll be like, no, you're the insect. All right. I'm not the insect, you heard? All right. You have to unify your body like this. A lot of people do like meditation or harmonics. But I use these characters with tank armor and gradients and angels and all that. The universe is fit now. With unilateral. Well, it's like it's like it's like a choose your own adventure, but it's a template. It will appear to them on their side as though it is already completed. Like, yo, here's the template. But in secret, Merry Christmas, they're actually helping out in the final rendering of the final pieces. Yeah. So like later on, they're like, yeah, well, we worked with the thing, all right. But then they get a piece of the thing and it's the completed Mandelbrot. Yeah, super cool. So this is the only way I could overclock against premeditated, predetermined like alternate versions of the Mandelbrot. The terrible, like really bad versions of that is like these other negaships and their kind of energy plot, which schisms everything about humanity. Humanity's like, no, I think I've made the right decision here. And I'm like, all right, I'm the cure that defeats the big problem behind all the little sniffles. And they're like, no, the little sniffles have informed me that I can't promote the cure. I'm like, you guys are doing the wrong thing towards the Mandelbrot here. Oh, it's a lifelong thing. Humans are just, you guys need to end that and instead do business. Business with Colin Paul Woodard actually is not the same as physics relating with other 545 humanity. All right, I am the Mandelbrot incarnate, and the part of our universe is dead. So the legend Pan is this levitation that rebuilds and hatches the prematurely dead, but on the other side to the authentic. Okay, look, it's just a little complicated, but unifying a black hole with a permanent orb is not the way to digest these things unless we're at critical red. But that's only on a level of a near proximity of Earth with some motherships around it. So you see, humanity's alone in their political struggle with bad energy groups that are like terrorist organizations. Right now, look, I'm not saying that humanity is terrorist organization, but there are a large amount of the robotics, uh, essentially, ultimately towards the curvature of curing problems using poison. But that's not really it's not as expedient. All right. I mean, like acting like, well, this is what just reality is like to me, okay, and it'd be some sort of like overbuilt anti Colin Paul Woodard establishment of a cult, megatopolis, ruining all societies, ruining all earth and religions, sabotaging humanity, destroying the environment. All this for nothing, because it is the suicide booth that proves that all these UFOs were all for nothing, or because they didn't pilgrim quest. The entire chapter where they had the freedom to either land properly with the Earth heliosphere or destroy the universe and suck on it like a parasite, they've decided to suck on it like a parasite. Because they're not the appropriate design engine that ET can phone home and tell good news about that. But they're literally, our problem is an encroaching thing. Is like, we destroyed our homeworld for you, so that's why we've earned this. It's like, well, you're hepped up on that to, Earth needs to beef up and humanity needs to keep residency, understand military prowess, and to defend our keep and understand that we have the right to keep it, because the helium and the hydrogen is haunted only on this egg. So our egg is being twisted and demented. All the other universe doesn't have this dementia. So humans need to be quite double quick, be like, oh wait, no, or so I'll just be like this armor up times 5,000, right? Explodey 5,000. So Earth is the king heliosphere of the universe, but he's been perplexed for millions of years. Humanity has a sort of a or humanity is like in some ways the correct numbskull, because he can corkscrew around. He's like, look, I'm not scared about black holes. I'm not scared. I'm like, dude, I know you're not scared because you're legit and you're super cool and that's spooky. All right. And you're alive, but that's what the system of the down is like. It doesn't like to see things living. So like the infrastructure of computers, our own computers will also be hacked with like Swiss cheese and be like, oh well, I guess that's a virus, like, and it's like, why are our computers so irate? And like, well, because we're being attacked, because the humans are being attacked, duh. And like, why are our computers calculating the truth? Why are they telling the truth here? And then like, well, the Mandelbrot's work was a little bit early for me to be explaining this to you, but the Mandelbrot is creating these layers of like authentic source code AI. It was, with like basically Legend Pan reconfigures what's to be done with the material of broken worlds. That's exactly what the material is for these motherships that are overbuilt. So the new directionals is the solution for the black holes. It is this Legend Pan system, but it empowers the individual of every heliosphere, which does destroy the monarchy of UFO and false government, blah, 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 right? Most important thing ever stamped. Okay. Well, it's like we're at the beginning of the most difficult time. So we need to actually be like, okay, if that's true, I need to put my dragon unicorn, like imagine your unicorn's horn light in your forehead. Ching. All right. And you only need to achieve it for a moment, because each moment there's new levels of time recording. X5000. And there's generic versions, and I also have custom versions for my favorite people. And they know who they are. I'm fighting for this production, and it's about our mutual partnership or our mutual want to become super popular, like the most powerful and funny films that America's ever seen. For Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries Lakeside, the men must comprehend the flat dimensional center of the Y chromosome, the center of the triangle, is stabilized through my incarnation. So while my Babelfish is very exciting and confirmation, you need to do the bold thing that's never been done and allow my fortune to breathe so that I can spend money and make these films and build my company Lakeside, right? The earth is haggard like this, like, and perfect circle. The identity must provide the character. For Millie and Hatch and the Vampire King. Happy Halloween. The magic is real, but the strain is also real. There's certain like anatomical things that cause agony, and I'm so sorry, guys. I'm learning about new depth levels of suffering. But I'm really sorry. Sometimes I'll record and I'll like have a flash of anger. I'll just be like, no, this is, but I'm just like, I'm on your guys' side. Like selfishly, you guys are having please understand that I want you guys to get the best from your interaction with me. And I'm working to ensure that using all of my Merlin or the Squirrel Wizards or these lawyers of the, here he is. So when I painted this, it was, I had the wings of the eyes of the Big Bang. And through the Juliet of like, well, then the next step is I would proceed into my afterlife, where myself would choose who is the permanent triangle. But instead of doing that in my waking afterlife, the universe is like, look, Colin Paul Woodard is my corkscrew punch, and he's working to develop the heavens whilst he lives, which is in fact more stable than his handmade 545. And that's the reason why the fetus fractal has an eye, which of course, if you have a midsection of your entire brain, there's not an eyeball right here, but it's of the epidermis, it's of the patina, it's of the visual centerline fetus fractal. It's not designed to be, it is resilient to dissection. The entire universe has fractal computers, and they're awakening to what's happening. Merry Christmas. And part of that, humans get a 25% cut. For every time Christmas rolls around, You guys are causing first contact around the problem of the dingus, around the is a schism, around all these things, and delivering Christmas cheer and true love, even toast, straight up, appropriate gifting. Basically, what if we from all of humanity, the people who literally do receive the best gift and all those feelings that go with it. But this is rare to happen, right? Well, gift giving is a real art for it. Yeah. So like some people on Christmas get this huge trophy from heaven. They'd be like, dude, best. Oh, it's like, a new car or something. Yeah, sure. I really needed that. This type of conversion. So then other worlds would have their best promoted and their worst would get coal in their stockings because they're playing games, right? And it's not about that. My rendition 10 base is so convincing as to overwhelm your guys' other concepts of reality. No, it's more like a revolutionary chain wit working with Mickey Mouse, Batman, Miku Hatsune, Nausica, all these bigwigs, like, and The Simpsons and South Park. Right. And I'm working to open up my own beautiful company. I love my characters, you guys. So my work for the individual is the bonus prize for your guys' individual. But I'd be like piping things out and be like, I don't listen to this and that, and they're like, oh, he's just paranoid, or he's just talking in a different sort of provision. And I'm like, I think that it's almost like the audience is speaking in tongues through me, going like, this is what's different about him. That's why we want to hear from him. But you guys are not understanding what he's saying, so you're not understanding the audience is lucid and supporting you guys as a social servant. This is your karma, is to deliver on this. Yeah. Right. Well, oh yeah, I mean, Hatch is this. Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries, you guys. Hatch is this engineer, and he's building all these prototypes, trying to develop the 1 milli, and it's designed in this way to snap spring and she'll awaken on the side of what, and it's a connectivity that shifts the eye of this nucleus so that the Big Bang can survive wrong permanent damage or wrong inflection of its identity. Because we're working for the ultimate functionality and the permanent stabilized wormhole that is time travel between the middle line of the universe and 1980 is me, my lifetime. So my body, but it's just that my Apple carriage got ripped out in 2014. So and there's all of these other angels popping out. Like, but they're sort of like this chronological Methodist, because like the universe had these pictures in it, right? And those was sort of this anchorage of the sort of primordial leapfrogs that I knew were, oh, it's hard to explain, but because like some of the creators caused their own spawn location that, and then clarified the entire Mandelbrot, which means like these got like it's an ongoing chronological thing where the flat dimension and the, you could say the ultimate dimension of after the hatch seals your eggs, empty space is conquered there. Empty space is getting infected right now from motherships that are pretending to be Starlight. They're remote hacking. They're giving instructions they shouldn't be. They're inferring against the residency of mankind, causing anxiety, depression, and other like celebrity burnout. Like people, but it's just like you guys literally, all that energy, there's the crack pipe and this distortion. It's there to prevent you from working with Colin Paul Woodard. And if you can transcend the agony, because it is. Well, what the System of a Down does to the body is described as torture. I'm sorry. I'm just all right. I'm not trying to. I don't. Okay. I'm sorry. I know that kind of talk isn't going to go very far, because I'm not trying to convince you guys about the presence of evil. I'm just saying that it does operate in a shimmy of non-consensual interpretation that does have effect. Like there'll be a curvature on your life where like a week, like just time, like something just like things just changed historically. Yeah, but you guys didn't author that. We did remotely, so but it's just like what like okay, so what the individual is trying to say is that where the yeah, so the new spawn locations that prove that skeletal structure of the individual are just now awakening. And that's supposed to be exciting. Uh, so, at any rate, it's sort of weird because instead of like the man who brought in 2014, I think the only reason that it went into this Plan B style was really painful for me, is that inevitably, of course, people like anticipate that I've lost some type of thing, or that it's being absorbed or digested into this other thing. And that's also a mishandling of what is the permanent orb light covering the earth, because it's not the Big Bang. It's because of the conjecture like this, it's more like earth heliosphere from the other side becoming enlightened by my death. But then earth would be the sort of the throne of my ghost would sort of like woo, just go around in the universe and do all this stuff. But instead of that kind of party house, we have like this polluted environment with like this and like so you have this a puzzle box, because the helium and hydrogen are twisted, but it's not to find excuse. Each one of these characters is doing their best as a professional. Like I said, they'll all have the same corkscrew, and my corkscrew is for humans too. So they're like, oh, I understood what you said. It was very funny, and they get it quick, man, because like I can afford it. Like when it goes out, I built it as a snap in, like it's just a rib, but people love it. Like that's literally Hero School Hen Code Batman. Like you can become a superhero, hang out with your favorite superheroes, in yeah, but because it's in a controlled environment. Yeah, that's his father. The all right, it's a larger. All right, that was really the only way for me to like adopt society, because I hadn't authored Batman myself. So I had to do this other thing, and like a perfect Hero School mansionoid, it's actually built for myself. But then I was going through this thing of just give it all to the Batman, and this franchise will follow. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But I was like, but the Hero School I will continue to be able to use it as a code, right? They're like, oh yeah, of course. Like with Colin Wins Colin One, you're like generating energy with a copper wire. I'm like, of course, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, larger bone structures are like the fate of the universe of how to hatch the eels for eggs. There's a family planning, and so that anyway. Well, thank you guys. The pilot series, the first film is Hatch in the laboratory, but he's in the forest, but there's just like these things built in, like, but it's all covered in, or someone like drew it in or something. Yeah. Oh, layers of that, man. It's cool stuff. We're just gonna patch it together. Right? So I have like a million different experiments of these robots and drones and stuff. Millie awakens, bing, bing, and her little. So this is like Millie one, like a prototype. Like what she does in the first moments, like that's kind of the biggest part, and that's why I'm looking for a real talented voice to make that happen. Even though we have voice changers, I don't think I should be the voice of Millie. I think that for me, it would be just, I wouldn't be as, part of the magic of it is a discovery process. So that's why talented people are priceless. And especially when you're talking about 50-50 on a streaming service, the communication industry itself is organic, the neighborhood is healthy, and it causes we're like, oh, we're all excited. So I know that we can emphasize that reality into the business model to make it a mutual earning company without friction between the owners. Oh, for Millie to own 50% Lakeside is my invitation to the Bramble. A professional, historical curvature for the fortune of real popularity, or the hesitation of a false, aptitude, right? The new level of American communications revolution, East Coast. It is the strangeness of America. The Leverett Circle. Right, so the membrane, the Mohawk chip, isn't just a cutaway of what are the entrails of the center of my body, because that wouldn't do anything. But this explains that images do hold the entire universe together. So what we see is important. That's why the radioactive government releasing UFO information is toxic to children's eyes. They're not protecting the family. Some Merry Christmas with this false government and the coitus with the occult. False communication and false enlightenment, because they've had the wrong reaction to Colin Paul Woodward. They've inherently taken on the robotics of the suicide booth. No business. And they've allowed for a false election. This type of information is valuable. Their identity not matching the curvature of the dragon of the universe surviving, so the universe will do this invisible fire and destroy the sickness of Earth and the universe. So the entire universe is at holy war, and it is a struggle to survive. But I'm not the one that doles out inequity. I'm the level not of green perception because of, the diagonal curve. I was born with the equilibrium beyond the curvature of the planet. So my horizon of my eyes is beyond the Earth horizon. It's basically the universe image has a blue line across it. And my eyes at the green center is tilted like that. Only 3 metals can comprehend this. The blue eyes could understand because of the periodic table of the elements and how light and time fractures is at the green point, right? And then 3 metals in the blue band are a calibration of angels in heaven. But this is not, a false. Humans are somehow conditioned to be allergic to their own benefit, allergic to their own superpower, allergic to their own opportunity. They have suffered great misinformation because they don't understand that the curvature of my identity is the evidence that we shall survive. It is the spark of leadership and the resilient center of the Y chromosome that all the men can resonate with. They're like, I sense he's the center of the triangle. It's clarifying my Y chromosome flat dimensional identity as a microchip. The X fractal is all screwed up, but it was built to manhandle and golden hook on junk DNA. So how are we to blame on that? I mean, specifically, you're not. The individual will be freed from certain guilt. And like I said, there's an adjustment to our karma. It's coming in from the future, like piano wires, legend pan. Look, it's not like there's no flaw in my thinking. It's all right. Like when the periodic table of the elements is in the correct linear form, it combines cell division like the Mayan calendar. So with the Mayan calendar is like from the past, when the asteroid extinct a lot of ancient brown civilization. This was a great god of the brown invention. What I'm needing is not the brown illusion to cause my gods to become real. But that is a real Zen. It does exist in its corrected version, but it's being also hollowed out by a double Clancy, which is what is crushing like Japan right now. But they're like, well, why is that happening? Because we're literally getting encroached within an extinction, and our governments are getting seduced by this UFO equipment that literally gave square bottom pyramid technology to the entire world and then killed them for it. So they're not looking for worship or accolade or partnership. They're looking for us to stand up for ourselves, exist as our own light, and maintain residency, as if we're doing our job in the universe, as if we're upholding something. All right. Residency continue. I know that for the old people, it would appear that I'm too extreme. But I'm at the beginning of it, where like a firecracker is blowing everyone's goddamn hands off. Because you guys don't know how to work with a singularity. Because it's never happened before. Our opportunity is the unwritten future. You guys are hung up on precision details, or I don't know, something that's not sustaining. But I know that my communication does give people enlightenment, but it's just been like these like huge evidence glumps, like Studio Ghibli, of just like bounce, and then yeah, like these are larger creatures that are part of the turning of the universe, really. But there's like a plague doctor in the house with the black holes going, because it was staring at one of those motherships, because it was feeding and causing a vaporous hallucination into emptiness, as if they're doing this sort of, hey, we're the channelloids, you know. But it's like, no, Earth is the channelloid. Earth is supposed to report to the other heliosphere. So I had to like tuck back and be like, all right, Earth, let's do this thing. So Explodey 5000, he's equipped to do that. And for humans, like the Klingon or the false core, let's get purged out even in through death process was every day. But the problem is like Earth is like, look, I can't escape our near destiny, and that's why it crunches real people, because of the larger reason for smaller animals to be upset in the garden, like, oh, it's hot and there's crime, blah, 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 blah. And like, why is that happening? Like the intellectual humans can see why our humanity distraught, why is there something broken there? But then the problem is that even these greatly advanced people will stupidly be murdered and laid low for an inequity that proves that the problem that's hurting the lower creature is a larger problem. But it just, the result is that they're not able to business, because they're like, my energy, like my nerves, I just don't have any will to work with you. Certainly, that is the conditioning of the antimatter. It is a conjecture against the Mandelbrot as a false nucleus. They want to do a nucleus exchange and remove humans and put this thing in. So there's a different calendar in the reality. You know, the Mayan calendar gives us the truth of introspection about perfect circle, who on the needle of time is actually our enemy. So then as we're moving into the future, we already know who our enemies are, because it's written in metals. It's written in extinction, Bramf. It's written on the earth. So it's not like we're not sure we're not sure yet. Like, you guys need to have a greater, well, what you guys need to do, that's pretty much what you guys need to do, right? It's just like, I don't know, I get into stuff like I don't even want to talk about that, because I also am really empathetic about people's effort, and I think people are really cool. I'm just trying to give them like this adult thing about like, see how, look, like there's like, we go through like this haunted mansion and see this like haunted thing, rich. What do you think about that, you guys? Well, it's pretty scary. So they're trying to put the antimatter wielding tools into humans forcefully, to be like, the humans wield black hole stuff. So therefore, I'm like, the Merlin condomoid, no. At length, you know, invisible fire will consummate the human traitors, right? Because the universe is fighting back. And the solution is here on the earth, but it's also prevented by the wealthy who are preventing the American identity and the American leadership. So there's a false reality, a false society, and the collapsing of false like enlightenment, communication parasites, like false business, false wealth. The sort of result of conditioning as an adult from the 70s, is like the youth are being perverted and prevented. And I am because I'm the Mandelbrot, I'm a great liberator but for a completely different reason. And I'm working to build my angel body on top of broken anatomies, but it's not about proving that humans is broken. That's stupid. So you guys always have a stupid result, but you're saying that that's what I'm saying, and that's where you guys are a false report and the type of suicide booth, the coitus malpractice, false cures for sickness that I've, the center of the triangle and the center of the Y chromosome is a big deal. It's from the Mandelbrot. I was born with it. And there's a reason why there's an eye in the center of the skull. It's because it's illustrative. It's because I created it. And through the entropy with piano wires, the hatched heliosphere eggs are working for the surviving warrior, the dragon of the universe, to fight back against the collapsing universe and the false government of the oppressor, the parasite, an old tradition of fake societal reason terrorist who's self-destructive but wants to blame Colin. So has organized this type of thing. Do not produce an imitation of Colin Paul Woodard. The earth heliosphere shall not abide, it will destroy you. The earth is at his physical incarnation task. And so the true identity of the earth is sort of suspended with piano wires with a peer group of billions of heliosphere worlds who are fighting against the black hole infection and the terrorist energy, the false sunlight, the false helium, and the UFO encryption and the wrong human government and all these parasites. So all that was a huge waste. Yeah. But through Legend Pan, there's some sort of euphoria that allows the spaceships to have other things to do. And it's correct. They'll be like, you're right, I am more interested in ougunning these Nombertroids. Yes, well, okay, but that's not an envoy to remove the skin of Earth. You need the human's residency is the correct identity to continue and complete the Earth. Mandelbrot. This is built streamlined like that. And you're interfering with the eyes of mankind is going to interfere with my investment in mankind, with Batman and Mickey Mouse. And I think I can't allow that to be appetizing. So as a part of this misery of what I've been having recently is like the outer Boris, but the reality that advanced humans they will have hundreds of locations around the universe, and they will not be stricken to the earth and band of heavens. To equalize against that, my work with Batman was entrapment. That's ridiculous. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. I guess I'm trying to be the top hat that is the CEO of his own company. Patch and Millie's Master Source Industries. Of course, I own every percent of that. The streaming service is something I'd like to share 50-50 with a powerful group. Or I could just be given a pile of production money, make movies that awaken people. So you guys get it. Thank you so much. Please, network and streamline for some business to get my way. I'm looking for the chance of a lifetime to prove that I can make money using money. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your civility in the society of business. Perfect circle. The event of a lifetime, the health of men, as a flat dimensional creature or a junctionate schism victim that can't determine the center of his own Y chromosome as an evidence of flat dimensional tampering. Right. So at length, a noble insight. Oh, sure. But no business acquaintance of mine. But 95% of the public shall receive the wizarding cup. 100 luxurious kingdoms around the universe. But for these terrorists that have stalked me my whole life and ruined humanity and fell it. The universe is at holy war. I shall not do the criminal work. I will not perform malpractice. But it is false government or critical errors that shall be destroyed for the next 1 million years. It's encrypted this way. The surviving dragon of the universe shall fight to survive. But that is the course of enduring black hole terrorism, remote hacking government, an isolated incident near to the Earth proxy. Yes, the actual image of the universe is having its rendezvous with the Mandelbrot, despite all these guys. Because I can, of course, that's Coral. Oh, but you guys can't sense that. You don't have an opportunity with Colin Woodard. You won't do business, and you've even worked against him. Right. The universe is alive. You guys think it's you versus me because you're talking about, disheveled entanglement, you, me versus. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about that society. You guys are a false monopoly excuse, cover up for a criminal entropy, a false enlightenment, a zero business. All right. Well, for the sequence of universal survival, the market is strong this way. The universe is at holy war. Business with the Mandelbrot is the beginning of the enlightened sequence of mankind. To produce my pilot series is to sense the rise, not as an opportunist, like we got excited from Colin, but then did something else. Right, that's evidence of the larger problem. Because you guys aren't responsible with wealth. You're not responsible with authority. So you guys are the false communication groups, and I'm the struggling artist with a real communication to give to people. That's the audience. You guys are enemies of the audience. Parasites to society. Yeah. This type of, these guys are triggered from this and they're on antimatter. So they don't perception with Colin Paul Woodard. They don't business with Colin Paul Woodard. So my market for a long time is really the universe, other heliosphere worlds, because the reason that Earth was inviting these things was because there's physics to ET phone home, but because there wasn't any right relationship, and I was getting hurt energetically because they're trying to prove something about willpower or the content of human bodies, which is just sickness. Pour armor up. And my orb of light goes to the. Well, they treat me like a human, This is like this. It's an evidence against their own reflection, and their detection is like this, a numbskull. It's just an age of mankind. We're getting through it. Unfortunately, when you guys who are the old people preventing love, preventing inspiration from the audience, you lack honor, you lack discipline. Right, so I'm a reprisal to that coma. For business, see how the adult thing shattered out. As the original triangle evaporated from the Earth, migration to the, well, I had to do the EET phone home anyway. So I shattered for that, and now we have the Colossus of Chaos as the individual, which is running the tether poles to promote Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries, which is also the creation device from the 80s, Triangle Pyramid. All right, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you.